Hello and welcome back to Empyrion Galactic Survival. Sorry for missing last week. I just didn't have the spoons to record on time. I'm afraid that's going to happen on occasion. We'll just have to live with it. So, I don't think anything here has changed. The main thing is I got the platform done for where the spaceship's going to land, or where the small spaceship's going to land, and I added in these staircases to provide quick access up and down a couple of levels. Now, I'm on a planet with an atmosphere, so I really don't have to worry about these seals between levels, but I just wanted to sort of test whether I could get it to work. In order to get the force field in there and this handrail here, which I really thought was needed, I had to sort of push this wall back one. You can sort of see where this thin wall was here, now it's there. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to remove the texture from... Oops. Choose texture. Do not apply to whole block. There we go. I've got to paint this hallway at some point, especially now I've got this thing in. Yeah, so I had to sort of shove things around a bit, but it's not changed things too much in here. We've lost a bookshelf, and it's added like a bit of shape and texture to this wall. Which I can paint up to match the rest. Can't quite get that bit there because the plant's in the way. Yeah, so you can see this bit here is actually the thin wall corner piece, so that's all actually sort of one square. That's how I managed to get that to fit in. There we go. So this staircase just sort of leads down to the construction area, which I thought would be useful. And if I run to the opposite side, we have a new symbol there, top and bottom, which is my symbol for a small fighter craft. I was getting a bit lost with some of these things, like you'd pop out a door and then I wouldn't quite know which way to go. So I decided to start adding these lines on the floor, leading from the door to the thing that was symbolized over that door. You know, so you can sort of see that that leads you out here, which is our landing platform. And we've got another line here, which is from the construction level one, which has the same symbols there, and says go out that way and then go that way. The reason why you didn't want to go out this way is because that's the back of that staircase. So I decided to light the landing pad up in green and try and put some other lights around just to sort of light up the base. I've also painted the outside a bit. Those bars there aren't actually lights, they're a texture. And I managed to find textures which would sort of go together between the various levels that have got wood and concrete and metal in the various places. So, nothing special, but I think it looks alright. So we want to start building our craft, and I want to sort of take advantage of the space I've got here and make something that's a reasonable size. So it's just a question of whether or not I've got all the components for it. That window there looks different. Are you different? No, it's just because it was showing something on the other side. Also added like a load of lights around the outside of the gardening area. I don't know if those were there before. I don't think so. And I sort of added lights to most of the sides, up above the ramps, just to try and make it, light up a bit at night. So, construction. This thing's still making all of our biofuel, as much as it can. This is our block constructor, which has been making some concrete blocks in case we need them. I've also got 200 small steel blocks and 50 small window blocks. So I've got all these hardened steel plates, but I only really want those on the outside of the spaceship I'm building. So I think I may have mentioned this before, but I'm going to build it out of normal steel and then use the upgrade option on the multi-tool. There, upgrade. And basically, if I've got the hardened steel in my inventory, I think I can just go over the outside of the ship and it will turn it all into hardened steel and hardened glass. That's my hope. So, I'm going to need a lot of other components for this. I think I've unlocked everything. Yeah, so that's everything unlocked. So let's get on with manufacturing a load of stuff. Then I'll pause until we've got maybe a base of a spaceship down. Because if I do, if I spend the entire episode just fiddling around, then nothing else is going to happen. And it would be nice if this was actually up and running by the end of the episode. Okay. Small vessels. What have we got? Okay, we've got Gatling guns and rocket launchers. They're not homing rocket launchers, so let's try 4 Gatling guns and 2 rocket launchers. Okay, I need a small vessel starter. I was trying to find that. For some reason it doesn't, when you filter by small vessels, it doesn't show up, which is so dumb. Right, other things under devices. I am going to want a door, because I want this thing big enough to actually walk inside. Because as I said, I'm going to take this thing to the moon and do some mining there, so this has to be like a very small mobile base. So let's put a door in it. An armor locker, that's quite big. I mean, being able to switch out the components of my armor would be useful, but I'm going to leave that for now. I can't make a mobile constructor because I don't have the cobalt alloy. Hopefully we'll get that via some trading or raiding, which we can do once we've got the ship. I am going to want a cargo box. It's going to want an ammo box. Get some lights. And some flares. Some spotlights. Hopefully I've got enough for all this. Now I need a ventilator because I want to be able to breathe on the inside of this thing. Which means we also need an O2 tank. And an O2 station. And I bring food. Needs generator. Needs fuel tanks. Okay, so now I've got to start thinking about thrusters and stuff. Okay, I only have 7 cobalt alloy, and these larger thrusters use cobalt. That requires 5, those require 3. So let's try and get 2 thruster jets small, which gives 700 kilonewtons. And then we need thrust for all the other directions. So 2 forward, 2 left, 2 right, 2 up, and 2 down. And RCS is required for turning vessels and so on. So let's see if we can make at least 4 of those. And some landing gear. Okay, I'll see you out on the pad where hopefully all of this has been constructed and we've got the base of a ship down. Okay, so you join me here in not the best of weather, and for me it's the next day. This took a little bit longer. Yeah, this little pitiful thing took a little bit longer than I was expecting. So I sort of had to stop recording yesterday and carry on today. So we've got sort of the beginnings of a basic shape, although I am tearing my hair out trying to work out what block goes here? Not there, because obviously that's just... hang on. Do that to reset the blocks. Yeah, see, there can't be a square there, because then it sort of pokes out at the bottom. So there must be a shape that will fit there. And so it needs to be... Sorry, I'm now looking at this afresh after having, you know, had a day to mull over this. It needs to be cut half across the bottom in order to carry on that shape. I mean, my instinct is it should just be this one, just upside down. But you can see that it doesn't fill it, it's the wrong shape. So what about corner large? Let's see, that's square at the bottom, it needs to be square at the top. But then none of this actually fills it. I mean, okay, if anyone out there has got more experience with how these blocks fit together, tell me what it is I'm doing wrong. See, because I can't put a square one there because it pokes out the bottom. I want to smooth off this shape, so we just have a nice, smooth, angled shape, top and bottom. I mean, I can see it in the negative space. It's just, I just want half of a full block. Wait, cut corner? No. No, that's... Yes. Oh, I've got it. Cut corner. Oh, okay, I was looking in completely the wrong place. It's this one. It's not those ones, it's... Okay, right. Let us put our symmetry back. Symmetry plane. XZ down the middle there. So this should just be able to go there. Right, that one ended up in completely the wrong place. Oh, I'm so glad I worked that out finally. Okay, so you can see the beginning of the shape we're starting to get here. If I actually come out now because it's stopped raining. The noise was really annoying me. And jump up here. See that we have a door here at the back. Now they don't appear to have manual doors on these things. But that should be an airtight door. And I set it on the inside so there's a little lip here, which will be useful for landing on when I'm jumping up to the ship. I'm also thinking I might put some form of extendable ramp down there. And then this back bit is going to be where the fuel tank and the generators and all the equipment is. And then we have this little internal door here which can lead to the cockpit. And that's the view I'm going to have from the cockpit. There's a way I can actually turn my head. There we go. So I think this is going to be pretty good. Ceiling is low. In fact, you can't jump up at all, but it's high enough, I think. I don't really want this thing to have too large a profile because it will make it easy to be shot. So now, before I decide, I mean, this is quite wide. I don't think I necessarily need to go this full width. So what I want to do is actually start adding engines and stuff. So we've got these thruster blocks M that put out 160 kilonewtons. We've got two thruster jets. They put out 350 kilonewtons, which is over double. And I think that's all I've got. Okay. These are smaller than I thought they would be. Do these things need the air intakes to be uncovered, or is that just a graphical thing? I suppose we'll find out. And then the idea is that the back of the ship, I'm completely out of blocks. And I forgot to start this thing making more blocks. Small vessels. Steel blocks. Try and make another 200 because I'm going to need them. Yeah. Now, you do have to worry about weight balancing. And that's going to be tricky. That didn't appear to show anything. Let's be standing on it and looking at it, and then we'll... I thought something would show up showing me where the centre of mass is. Well, most important, I suppose, is if I balance it left and right. Okay, so I realise that all these things have different masses, and I'm going to have to make some attempt to balance them across the symmetry plane, at least left and right. I don't know if I can balance them forwards and backwards, especially. Now, there is something you can build called... if I go to the Advanced Constructor access, there are these things called artificial mass blocks. Artificial mass adds additional weight and balance to the centre of mass of the vessel for improved flight and hover behaviour. Just takes 20 steel plate. Let's build one quickly, so we can see how heavy that... It doesn't list a mass. Interesting. Doesn't list a mass, which means without actually being able to see the centre of mass, that might be an issue. But with everything else, what I've done is worked out the weights of them. So the small ammo box is 600 kilograms. And if you take the fuel tank, that's 500, and the fridge, that's 100. So I'm going to want to balance those sort of evenly left and right. Then the O2 tank is 200 grams. The O2 station is 200 grams, so they balance. The ventilator is 500 grams. And the core is 500 grams. Now the generator, surprisingly, is only 1 ton. And it doesn't list... a weight for the cargo boxes. So we can start to sort of think how we want this laid out. I'm wondering if there should be like a layer up here, because there's certain stuff like the ventilator. Okay, the ventilator's too tall. I'm trying to work out how this stuff's going to fit in. Okay, now the fuel tank doesn't necessarily have to be visible. Okay, if these masses all told come to the same as that, that's going to have to move out one, isn't it? That's a very small O2 tank. That might not be enough O2, which is really annoying because each O2 tank weighs 200 kilograms. So you're going to want the O2 station to be near the exit. Right, it won't let me add this core because I've already got one down here. So let me dismantle this one. There's a lot of wasted space here, isn't there? What I'm thinking though is in the future I could maybe fit one of those short-range warp drives and warp tanks. So it would be good to have the extra space. We need a generator, RCS, and cargo boxes. Now this is only 1 ton, so what I think I might do is... So this is where it lists the mass of the cargo boxes. Now, I'm likely to want more than 4 RCS blocks. Everything seems quite centered. Obviously we're going to have the weight of weapons and stuff at the front. So do I want to narrow this at all? I quite like the proportions of this. So let's say we're not going to narrow it. I need to turn symmetry on. Right, so we've got to work out where the other thrusters are going to go. Okay, so that's the basic layout done, I think. Not too certain about the shape of this rear end, but we'll go with it for now. So I've got 10 of these medium thruster blocks. So we're going to work out where they're going to go. So there's going to be weapons at the front as well. 4 miniguns and 2 missile launchers. I think I'll mount the weapons on the upper deck and the thrusters on the slightly lower deck. So let's do that, and we'll punch in a hole somewhere. These things move around far too quickly. 1, 2, 3. Punch a hole in there. We need 2 pointing down. Actually, I think we might want more than 2. If we want to try and keep this thing flying level with all this weight, I think 4 nicely spaced out is going to work a lot better. So we'll build an extra 2 of those. Right, so we'll start from there. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Didn't mean to damage that extra one. I wish symmetry would work on removals, although I understand why they haven't implemented it as such. Okay, we should be able to tell whether or not we've got those in the right place, because with symmetry mode on, this should go in both positions if I got it right. And I did. Right, and we want 2 pointing to the left and the right. These are relatively simple. I think we'll go in line with the bottom thrusters, but at this level here. No, 1 level down, so they match the ones at the front. Now lastly, we're going to have the ones that are at the top, pointing upwards, which are going to poke out of the roof. The roof is going to be... So the roof is going to be at that height. Need more blocks. So it's 3 and then the roof. Right, so can we find a center point between these? No. So let's just visually look for the center point of the ship. We'll say there. So 1, 2, 3. Then that's the height of the roof. This should have a couple of thruster blocks. Alright, so apart from weapons, that's maybe the ship done. I've really never built one of these before, so it's possible that I'm making a complete lemon here. I think we can get in the cockpit and check our statistics already. Yeah, we need a lot more thrust. Okay, so looking at that, we have some acceleration. There's a lot less forwards than I was thinking. It's only 29 meters per second, so... But this thing will get off the ground. it will turn like a, it's going to steer like a cow, to quote the Hitchhiker's Guide, and it's not going to fly very fast, but it will get off the ground. It's enough for us to go to, say the trading post to see whether or not we can get some more cobalt. I don't really want to take it into battle, but I really want this thing at least finished and flying by the end of this episode, so I think we need to sort of skip me showing you everything else I'm doing. Oh! They've appeared. Centre of mass and stuff has just appeared. They weren't there before. That's weird. But they're there, so centre of mass left right isn't perfect, but isn't bad. And it's about the centre of the ship. So I think this thing, if I keep this balance up, I think it'll be okay. So what was I going to say? I want to get the upper shell on this thing in, get it enclosed, which obviously is going to add more mass to it. So if I've got the material, I'm probably going to add some more thrusters. Like maybe another set of these at the rear, if I can build 2 more. And might double up on the downward thrusters and the side thrusters. Side thrusters are very useful for dodging in combat. So I'm going to probably have to record this another day, but we'll come the next time, at the end of this episode, hopefully, we'll see some form of completed spaceship. Okay, finally done. In my timeline, it's 2.5 weeks later. Had a bit of a bout of tiredness there that meant for a while I couldn't play at all, but I have now managed to at least seal this thing in. It's a little bit bright in here. There are no lights inside this ship. They're all on the outside, but the light is coming in anyway, which is a little weird. Anyway, so this is the inside. I have made it a bit too wide. I could probably have reduced the width on this quite a bit and reduced the amount of work this would take. But in general, I'm relatively pleased with it. So if we can get outside, go to the drone view, give you a slightly better look. It's not the best looking ship, but it'll do. I'm calling it a Cobra Mark 1, because it's nowhere near as nice as a Cobra Mark 3. But, it's got four miniguns, 2 rocket launchers. I've checked and it can fly, i.e. it can take off. Stats-wise, it's not the best. That's not the ship. I thought if I pointed to it, it would give me the info. Let me stand on it and then do this. There we go. No, that's weird. Oh, is it just because the thrusters are off at the moment? There we go. Right, so we've got 30 meters per second up, which is good. Left and right is 15 meters per second. Forwards is 17 meters per second. And we can go down and backwards at 8 meters per second. That isn't too bad. Once I get more resources, then I think I am going to add some more rockets to this thing. I want to double up on the engines at the back and maybe replace these ones on the sides with larger engines. The advantage of having this be too wide is I do have a nice amount of room. So I think what I want to do now is I'm going to paint it, remove the supports, and check the center of mass and lift. See how well balanced this thing really is. The other thing I need to do is, if I can get in there, missed. This will be a lot easier once it lands lower. I have put a fridge in and I've started stocking it with some food. I've got some spare steel blocks, oxygen. I need spare fuel in there. I've put an armor locker in here with a couple of EVA boosts. It's got a reasonable amount of oxygen. There we go, there's a little bit more. I'm not sure how long the oxygen lasts. It doesn't take too much oxygen to fill it. If you go panel statistics, you can see needed to fill the inside of this spaceship is only 30, and there's 100 and something in the tanks. So what uses it up is simply the speed at which I breathe. Am I wearing my helmet right now? Okay, I'm now not wearing my helmet. I've got an O2 station, so I can top up my own O2. I can't put a mini constructor in because I don't have the cobalt. That's the generator. This is the fuel tank. Yeah, see, I want to make sure this thing is full of fuel and I have spare fuel on me. And bullets. I need to fill this thing with bullets. Well, 15mm bullets and 130mm MSLs. So, I'm going to do all that. Okay, so I've got myself a load of bullets and some fuel. But the other thing I remembered I wanted to do was actually change the outside of this thing to be hardened steel and so on. So I can use the upgrade tool on my multi-tool, and I just have to, I think, be carrying the extra stuff. Now the difference between a steel block and a hardened steel block is just hardened steel plate, so I've got a load of that. And the difference between glass and armoured glass is an extra glass plate, sorry, an extra glass plate and hardened steel plate. So I'm hoping this is enough. I got all this hardened steel plate from the crashed Titan. I suppose I can always go back. So let's see what that upgrade process is like. So if I go here, upgrade, from steel block to hardened steel block. Okay, what happens if I click on the same thing again? Nothing happens and it doesn't waste energy. That's good. Presumably I can't upgrade that. Right, so I just need to go around this entire thing, making sure I click on everything. It's probably going to be easier from the drone. And yeah, hopefully we should have a lot tougher ship. Let's actually just do a quick comparison. If I go to repair, the normal steel plate has 50 hit points. That thing has 200 hit points, so it makes this thing 4 times as tough. That's going to be especially important, I think, for this cockpit here. Yeah, 25 hit points compared to 150 hit points. So, yeah, I'm going to go do this, and then I will start putting some paint on this thing. Okay, I think I'm ready to go. This is not the best paint job. I'll sort of refine it with different textures and so on once it's fully armoured. I don't have enough hardened steel to fully armour it, so for now I've just done the front. You can sort of tell which are the hardened stuff and which isn't by the texture. As you can for most of it. This stuff here is hardened as well. So all of the front, all of the windows are hardened, but I have to go and get some more hardened steel. So I think for this thing's first maiden flight, I want to take it out to the MS Titan. So let's get inside, close the door. Currently the power is off. I've got oh yeah, I actually have two fridges in here, which I'm not sure quite how that happened, but I don't want to remove one because that might mess up the balance. I have some spare fuel and spare oxygen. I've got a load of 50mm bullets. Cannot make any of the rockets yet because it requires magnesium, which doesn't exist on this planet. So and we are flying. Let's try and get this from a rear view. There we go. Now, that's more than the other half of the planet away. So if I take a bearing and head east, we should be able to get there a bit quicker. Okay, this thing turns very slowly. So I think one of the things I need to do is... Oh wow, I've just noticed power left is like 15 minutes worth. So I think one of the things I need to do is put more RCS in this. Let's reload all those. Okay, flying from in here you can't see a thing. Now, how do I lock this to a different angle? I thought there was a way I can... See, every time I let go... Oh, and drones are on their way. If I run into the drone stuff... Oh, I've just noticed there's some enemy things there. Okay. The drift left and right is a little slow. There we go. There's the Crash Titan. Now, there is an enemy base there, but I'm hoping that as long as I keep moving... Yeah, this thing needs a lot more rockets on all the sides. But it's not doing too badly. 12 minutes of fuel left. I like how you can get a nice bird's eye view of everything. Now, the only problem I've got is this thing will not defend itself against drones. I don't think you can put turrets... Whoa. Okay, I don't think you can put turrets on these things. So this is where being able to look down at the ground would really help. Okay, that's just a warning to that it's decompressing the inside. Okay, well, I think I need to double the engines on all the sides of this thing. I've got to keep an eye on my radar for when if the drones come here rather than at my base. My base now has about 6 turrets on all sides, so that's not really an issue. I should be safe from wildlife up here. I'm going to grab myself some more hardened steel, and I'll see you in the next episode when we might go raiding an enemy outpost, because there's some nice loot in those things. So I'll see you then. Bye bye.